games. What is up, everyone? I play Vidya here, and welcome to my annual favorite games of the year video 2025 edition. There were a lot of great games this year, so many I didn't even get the chance to play, but regardless, I still have plenty of games I want to talk about. So without further ado, let's just jump into it right away, shall we? This year, there are 7 2025 releases that I played that I'll be talking about. So starting off this list at number 7 is No Skin. No Skin is a horror roguelike game where you go through several levels, several stages. I believe they're chopped up into chapters. There's several different chapters you go through, all with the goal of ultimately taking down the man with no skin. I originally heard of No Skin when I saw Markiplier play the demo of it, and it looked very interesting, so I wishlisted it shortly after watching his video of it, and when it came out, I bought it right away and played it. And I gotta say, you know, over the last couple of years, I've kind of gotten burnt out on the roguelike games. At this point, they can be fun, but it takes something like really special for me to like truly enjoy it. I can't just enjoy a roguelike that's a roguelike, because the genre itself has kind of grown stale for me unless there's something special behind it. And I feel like No Skin has that, right? I really enjoyed the horror elements of it. The art style is very good. I really love the art in this game. The audio in this game is very well done as well. The story that takes place over the course of the game is very interesting. Honestly, I enjoyed it. Very good. Like, it's at the bottom of the list, so it's not something I was like truly blown away by, but I definitely enjoyed my time with it. I definitely enjoyed it, definitely would recommend it, had a lot of fun with it. Next up on the list at number 6 is Megabonk. Now, I don't know the specific genre we'd list Megabonk as. I believe it also counts as a roguelike game, but a lot of people have been calling it similar to Vampire Survivors, because that's a game we can immediately point at and be like, hey, that's something similar. So that's how I refer to it as well. It's a Vampire Survivors-like game, but this one is three-dimensional, and obviously it has its own charm to it as well. It's not directly ripping them off or anything. It has its own original characters, original weapons, and all that. Now, this game went viral online. A lot of people kind of shit-talked it because they didn't like the humor of it. I think it's perfectly fine. I see no issues with it. The game has been a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. Now, in all honesty, I probably prefer Vampire Survivors a little bit more, but the one thing I will give this game credit on is its unlockables. It's very direct with what you have to do to unlock things. It gives you clear requirements, do this to unlock things, whereas Vampire Survivors gets very vague with like, yo, do this to unlock this certain thing, and ultimately you end up just looking up guides anyway as like, okay, what the hell do I actually do? Megabonk is very direct with it, but even if I don't like it as much as I did Vampire Survivors, I will say it is still a fun game. I've enjoyed it. I've put a good few hours into it. I probably will play more of it in the future. But overall, I'll say it's just good. Once again, that's why it's kind of sitting here at number 6. It was just kind of good. It was good. I wasn't wowed by it, but it was fun. I enjoyed it. Next up on my list at number 5 is Pokemon Legends ZA. The next entry in the Legends series from Pokemon, and it definitely takes a hard turn from even not only the classic Pokemon formula, which the spin-offs typically do, but an even harder right turn than some of the spin-offs had taken. For example, with Legends ZA, the game is no longer turn-based. A lot of people were turned off from this, but I thought it was a very interesting way to shake up the game for the spin-off. And now, because it's no longer turn-based, and because and now in this new gameplay style, stats affect the gameplay differently, it causes Pokemon that haven't been used as often to get more time in the spotlight, as well as Pokemon moves you don't see getting used very often to be more valid in battle. I really like the gameplay changes they've made with Legends EA. I think it was a really cool way to go about it. Now, when it comes to the core Pokemon games, yeah, I still want my classic turn-based battle, going through my 8 gym leaders and all that, but for the spin-offs, changing up the way they did, I really enjoyed that. And even outside of that, I was a big fan of Gen 6 when it came out, so seeing that the game was returning to the Kalos region and that they were bringing back Mega Evolutions, I was very excited for all that, and I really enjoyed my time with it as well. I really liked a lot of the characters in this game. The story was okay. You know, it's a Pokemon game, so I don't expect anything too amazing out of the story. Not saying Pokemon games can't have good stories, but you know, historically they haven't been 10 out of 10s or anything. But it was fine. I saw a lot of backlash about like graphics in this game. I gotta say, I think the game looked totally fine. Some people complained about like the buildings just being 2D textures, and genuinely I don't see the problem with that. Not everything has to be 3D modeled and look amazing. I really think when it comes, especially with Pokemon, I feel like people online really just try to latch on to the smallest nitpick to bitch about. I gotta say, I've had no issues with this game. I've had a lot of fun with it. I'm not so keen on the online mode they implemented, but all the single player stuff I've really been enjoying. Not gonna touch on the DLC. I haven't played it. I know people have talked shit about it. I don't have an opinion. Haven't played it. Probably not going to play it, if I'm being perfectly honest. But like I said, really enjoyed this one. Really had a lot of fun with it. So I think it absolutely deserves a spot in my top 5 for the year. Coming in at number 4 is the global release of Uma Musume Pretty Derby. For those of you who don't know, Uma Musume Pretty Derby is a game where you train up horse girls to run various races, complete their careers, use these characters to compete in, PvP matches via via team trials or champions meets. And I gotta say, I wasn't anticipating playing this game this year. I really wasn't. I had heard people talking about it, but it didn't seem like something that would ultimately strike my fancy until I saw a lot of friends playing it. I saw like 3 or 4 of my friends all playing this game. I was kind of like taken aback, like, whoa, is it really that good? Are we really enjoying it like that? And then not only that, all of a sudden I see so many creators online playing it. It starts sweeping over the online space. I'm seeing so many streamers and creators playing this game. I decided, all right, it's a free mobile game. Probably not gonna like it, but I'll download it, see what it's about. And genuinely, I was blown away with how good it actually is. There are a lot of lovable characters in this. Some of the stories within the actual main story mode are incredibly well done. And honestly, the gameplay loop, for me personally, I don't get bored of it. Now, I will say I have stopped playing it in recent times after Cygames announced they were opening an AI studio. So at this point, I have no interest in supporting the game anymore, but I can't deny that I did play it for the entire year after it launched. I had a lot of fun with it, and I really wish that Cygames hadn't decided to take that turn that they have, because I would have absolutely kept playing more of it. But I can't deny that I did have fun with this game, and it's going to remain the number 4 game on this list. Now, before we get into the top 3, as usual, I want to do the honorable mentions as well as the winner of this year's Golden Butterfly Award. So, for those of you who don't know, honorable mentions goes out to games that I played for the first time this year, but were not released for the first time this year. Now, the honorable mentions this year are the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 remake, Killer 7, Terra Nil, and Slay the Princess. Now, technically, this year's Golden Butterfly Award winner, you could argue, was released this year, technically, in the same way that, I put Uma Musume on the list of games that were released this year. because this was the first time a localized version of this game was made available. However, I wanted to consider this game part of the honorable mentions because technically it was released several years ago, but also because I just wanted to give some special attention to this game in particular because I very much enjoyed it. And that game is The Shell Part 3 Paradiso. The Shell Part 3 is the final game in the Shell visual novel trilogy, and genuinely I was blown away by it. I enjoyed the first Shell game. I thought it was alright. I loved the Shell Part 2. Thought it was a phenomenal game. So of course I was very excited when the Shell Part 3 came around. And any expectations I had for this game, they were blown away. It smashed it. This game was so fucking phenomenal. I could not imagine a better conclusion to this trilogy. I genuinely couldn't. No spoilers, but it had one of those endings where I was genuinely left speechless. In a positive way. In a positive way, I was genuinely left speechless. Just like, wow. Because the ending was so perfect, I could find no flaw in it. I could not find one thing to nitpick. I could only sit back in awe, like, of course. Of course that's how this was all meant to end. Of course that's how everything was going to wrap up in the end. Of course, it all makes sense. The story of this game is fucking phenomenal. The art style is amazing. They continue to, as the trilogy progresses, the art just continues to improve and improve, and this game is no exception. It's so good. The soundtrack, phenomenal. The voice acting, amazing. Everything is just so good about this game. And that's the thing, by the end of the game, there's no real loose ends, right? The true ending may not wrap up everything, but there's other endings you can view that actually kind of wrap up any loose ends you thought there were. Like I said, this game, it wraps everything up so well. So well. So if there's one game here I had to give special attention and had to give a special award to, it has to be the Shell Part 3. I thought it was absolutely phenomenal, and I cannot recommend this game, and of course the rest of the trilogy, enough. Such a good fucking time. Highly recommend. But now we get into the top 3 of my favorite 2025 releases. Coming in at number 3 is Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii. Now, I was kind of surprised because I had a lot of fun with this game, but in the last couple of months I've seen a lot of people shitting on it, which I was surprised by because when it came out I really didn't see a lot of negative attention around it. I don't know if it's just because, RGG has really been shooting themselves in the foot recently. They've kind of taken a turn for the worse ever since around, September? So maybe that's just the reason people have been dunking on this game, but I gotta be honest, I had a blast playing this game. I thought it was a lot of fun, and, with RGG releases, they really like to walk the line between drama and comedy, right? They try to balance the two. Holy shit, I gotta say, I think this is the funniest game RGG has released. Genuinely, like, peak humor. The drama isn't there near as much, for sure, but oh my god, this game is fucking hilarious. I absolutely adored it. The humor in this game is phenomenal. The gameplay I had a blast with. Once again, they give us multiple styles to play with, and I felt like both styles were utilized well. With Gaiden, the man who erased his name, there was 2 styles, but I felt like one of the styles was the one was definitely worth sticking to and kind of didn't worry about the other one. But in this game, no, I absolutely enjoyed playing both styles. I feel like they both had their uses. I feel like they both were given plenty of opportunities to be used. Like, I feel like both styles were handled very well. Building up your pirate crew and doing the ship battles was a lot of fun, at least for me. I really enjoyed it. The soundtrack, as always, is phenomenal. RGG never misses with the soundtrack. And the ending in particular was very good. Like I said, the majority of this game, there wasn't a whole lot of drama there, but towards the end of the game, they really bring it back. They really tie it together, and the ending and the justification for why this game even exists was very solid in my opinion. I really enjoyed it. So yeah, ultimately I thought this game was great. I had an absolute blast with it. I'm kind of surprised, in recent times there's been a lot of revisionism calling it garbage, but I couldn't agree less. I think it was fucking great. I would highly recommend it myself. Now, next up at number 2, this choice might surprise some people, because there's a game out there. There's a game out there that was released in 2025 that was on everyone's lips. Everyone was talking about it. It was everywhere. So many people were calling it their game of the year. It was everywhere. But for me, I think it takes a solid second place, and that game, of course, being Clair Obscur Expedition 33. Now, don't get it twisted. I did enjoy this game. I think it absolutely deserves all the accolades it's been getting. I think it absolutely deserved to win Game of the Year and so many of the other awards it won, and not just at the Game Awards, at any other award shows it's been nominated at. I feel like it absolutely deserves, the accolades it's been given. It's a great game. There just happens to be one game I liked a bit more of that, but we'll get to that. As far as Expedition 33 goes, I had a blast with it. I enjoyed having a turn-based RPG that wasn't, very anime-like, if that makes sense, right? Because nowadays you think of like the big RPGs, you might think of like Persona or the Trails series, or even a franchise like Fire Emblem. So it's nice to have a turn-based RPG that kind of leans away from that has a bit more of a realistic appearance to it. Now obviously the game doesn't shoot for hyper-realism, but they still go for a more realistic approach graphic-wise. And typically that's not something that gets me very excited. I'm not someone who really cares about something like that. But seeing that in a turn-based RPG style, I really liked it. I really thought it was a nice little change, and I really enjoyed it. And I think what I did like about Expedition 33 as well, when it came to like the characters and whatnot, they shot for like the more realistic graphical appearances. The world they built was still very fantastical, right? I really enjoyed the art style in this game because the settings and enemies within this game are still very fantastical, still very out there. They don't sacrifice, their creativity just for the sake of pursuing, the more realistic graphical approach, and I really like that. Now, the gameplay of this game I had a lot of fun with. I love all the options available to you to build out these characters, and just the character options that are available, right? Like, you look at like what the big meta builds are, the big one-shot builds are, and it's like, that's cool and whatnot, but it's also cool that you can totally build them out your own way and it's still totally valid. Sometimes with games like these, I worry that like there's specific builds that you should have to actually progress in an area, because some games end up like that. Some games do, where it's like, if you don't have this specific team build with these specific skills, you're either not going to progress, or you're going to have an incredibly difficult time progressing. And Expedition 33 doesn't have any limits like that, not that I experienced anyway. I felt totally valid using the characters I had, using the skills I did, even though these weren't the super meta builds that everyone was talking about. I still really enjoyed what I had and how I had built these characters, which obviously led to me having a lot more fun with the game. probably the biggest highlight of this game that I think is undeniable is the soundtrack. God fucking damn, they knocked it out of the park with the soundtrack. It is so fucking phenomenal. I cannot possibly understate how fucking good this soundtrack is. If there is one fucking thing that this game deserves all its praise for, is the soundtrack. Holy fuck, it was so good. The voice actors also did phenomenal. I know there was a bit of discourse when the Game Awards announced 3 of the best performance nominees being characters from Expedition 33. And I definitely understand the argument there, but but also as someone who's played the game, I can't help but say it's kind of deserved, because goddamn, the voice actors really brought their fucking A game to this game. It is very fucking good. And then the story of the game, of course, absolutely phenomenal. No spoilers, but that big twist that happens at the end of Act 2, beginning of Act 3. My God, I was left mouth agape, fucking just totally stunned by everything that was happening. I was just totally blown away. Every little new twist and tidbit they were throwing at me, and I was sitting there having to process everything that was being thrown at me. Oh my God, it was such a phenomenal twist in the game. So fucking good. There's just so much good to say about this game. There truly is. I feel like there's not a single aspect that I can point at and not say like, oh yeah, that was good. Everything in this game is good, if not great, amazing, phenomenal. A lot of people were mad this game made the waves it did, but I feel like it absolutely deserved everything it got. I truly do, and I'm more than happy to put this as my second favorite game of 2025. And now we reach the conclusion. My favorite game of 2025. Vidya, how could you possibly have anything that tops Expedition 33? Listen, now I wish this game had gotten a lot more attention than it did. All right, but I'll be honest, I don't think even with the same amount of attention it would have, cleared Expedition 33 at any of the award shows or anything. But I truly think this final game is something special, something amazing. I can't praise it enough, and that game is Lost Records Bloom and Rage. Lost Records Bloom and Rage is an adventure game that was made by the same people who created the Life is Strange series. From all the marketing, it really seemed like Lost Records was going to be a spiritual successor to the Life is Strange series. Obviously, Don't Nod doesn't make more Life is Strange games because it's ultimately owned by Square Enix. So the fact that Don't Nod was making what looked like a spiritual successor had me very excited. And I feel like they absolutely knocked it out of the fucking park. I genuinely can't say enough good about this game. It is another, teen drama story with a supernatural twist, as you might expect from the people behind the Life is Strange series. And I don't know, every time Don't Nod does it, they just do it right. I love the first Life is Strange game. I fucking adore Life is Strange 2, and Lost Records is no different. Somehow they can take the same, vague premise, right? Teen drama with supernatural twist, and every time they do it, it's just done so fucking well. I absolutely loved the story of this game. It is very, very good. I loved the characters in this game. One character that stands out to me specifically is Kat. Now, I don't want to dive too heavily into spoilers because I want people to play this game. It's a phenomenal game. But Kat in particular has some certain circumstances in her life that I was able to relate quite heavily to. And I feel like Kat's character is an excellent portrayal of what a teen with these certain circumstances would be, how they would act, how they would behave, the kind of mentality they would have. I think that's a big part of why I put this game up so high and why I feel it's so special to me is because I am so happy with how this character was portrayed and the role they play in the story. I can't say enough good about it. If there's one thing I can truly praise Don't Nod for when it comes to Lost Records, it's the way Cat was written, but also when it comes to that particular character, I have to give massive props to their voice actor, Natalie LeConte. They did such a phenomenal job voicing this character, bringing them to life, and really delivering such an amazing performance that, took what Don't Nod had written and really turned this character into one that I won't soon forget. As per usual, when it comes to these Don't Nod adventure games, the licensed soundtrack, very good, but also the original soundtrack of it, very good as well. I've never met a Don't Nod game that I haven't enjoyed the soundtrack of, and this game was very good with that as well. I really love the art style of this game. I've always loved the art style that the Don't Nod team behind these games has. I think it looks very good. And another thing I've really started to notice now with these Don't Nod adventure games is they typically add like collectibles, right? Something for you to like keep an eye out for to make the game a bit more, to give you a bit more to look for in the game, or maybe even a reason to replay it. And I really like the way they did it in this game, but it made me appreciate just how they've done it in their past games as well, right? With the first Life is Strange game, your character is, an amateur photographer, so their collectibles are finding these various photo ops throughout the world. In Life is Strange 2, your protagonist is someone who likes to doodle and sketch, so the collectibles are them finding various things they want to draw in their sketchbook, right? So with Lost Records, your protagonist is this person who loves documenting things and videoing things on their camera so they can make these little short films. So your collectibles are all these little clips you can take throughout the world, and then you get to piece them up together into your own little compilations for once the collection is complete. And I think what's so cool about it is like everyone's going to have a different way they film even the same subject, right? And then even taking that and seeing how every player is going to order their collectibles in a different order when it comes to the final compilation clip is very cool as well. So the same two players could record the same 5 things and you'd get entirely different compilations. And the way all these little video clips come into play throughout the entirety of the game is very cool as well, because there'll be various moments where like Swan plugs her camera into the computer or whatnot, and you see like various clips that you've already taken play out throughout the screen. And then the end credits of this game is probably one of my favorites as well, because it does this too, where as the credit song is playing, it shows a montage of all these various clips you've taken throughout the entirety of the game, and it's just like a nice way to reminisce on your playthrough as it's all coming to a close. I can't say enough good about this game. It was so fucking awesome, and as someone who is a diehard fan of the Don't Nod Life is Strange games, having something like this again just really clicked for me, especially like I said, having a character in particular I could relate to quite heavily, and seeing them being portrayed in a way that was very genuine. I can't say enough good about it. I really can't. I'm so excited for what this team does next. I know when Don't Nod released their reports or whatever, that they said that Lost Records seemed to underperform. I sincerely hope this team gets a chance to cook again. I really do. Whether it's a Lost Records sequel, which they kind of teased at the end of the game, or even if it's something entirely new, I love what this team does. I really do. I can't say enough good about it. I had so much fun with this game. Truly fucking phenomenal. But that's going to do it for my annual favorite games of the year video. There were some real gems that came out this year. I had a blast. I can't wait to see what all comes out next year, because Lord knows I already have quite a list of games I'm looking forward to, and I hope I can hit at least half of them. But yeah, thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and hopefully I'll see y'all on whatever it is I record next. Till then, peace.